Welcome to the first episode of the 463 Baseball vlogging experience. Same as the podcast, I really don't know how many of these I'm going to make. We'll just have to play it by ear and see how long I keep this going. So this episode, this vlog, is going to be an overview of the season, how I did, how the team did, things I think we improved on, and just kind of tracking the overall journey. It's over. My college baseball career is over. I have enough eligibility to come back next year if I want to. I want to come back for, my master's or something like that, but I really don't feel like it, in all honesty. We ended the season 1-22. First win in 3 years in our program, though. It was a good feeling. It was a very good feeling, as I talked about in my podcast. Really, really sad that we couldn't get any more wins. We were in quite a few games, a lot more than I was expecting, in all honesty. But we were very competitive. We never quit fighting. Stayed in it. Kept our heads down, heads up rather. And fought through the entire season. We played a lot of teams that were pretty high above our level, size-wise. I mean, we have a 14-man roster, and we were playing teams with 35 guys. When we played Kalamazoo College, they had more pitchers than we have total players. So it really showed our tenacity playing these teams. Especially with our lack of depth, we had one or two guys at most positions, maybe, whereas other teams had 3-4 guys at each position. The original plan for this vlog was to show you a typical game day for us. We were supposed to play Wisconsin Lutheran last Friday. However, they needed to play some conference games against Marion, so they moved us to Saturday. And unfortunately, it rained all day Saturday, and the field was not in playable condition. So we drove all the way out there. We were ready, raring to go. The coaches talked, and they just decided that it wasn't going to be possible for us to play. So the season ended in somewhat of an unceremonious fashion. Very bummed out. Pretty sad that we didn't get to play those. So now, like I said, just going to kind of give you a final overview of the season. We're going to start off with team awards. So Maranatha Baseball has 5 awards for the end of the season: offensive MVP, defensive MVP, overall MVP, pitching ace, and coaches award. So our offensive MVP was Joe Anderson, who's a freshman. He hit .368 on the year, I think, which is absolutely insane. His on-base percentage was really good. He walked quite a bit. And he led the team in hits, runs scored, on-base percentage, on-base plus slugging. He really racked things up. Defensive MVP was David Cripps, our catcher, who's an absolute rock-solid backstop. He saved a lot of our pitching from wild pitches and saved a lot of runs for us there. Our pitching ace was Teddy Haugen, who got our only win on the season. He didn't have the lowest ERA. Joe had the lowest ERA, but Teddy was really solid for us all year. He was very dependable. In his first game in his college career, he took a 1-0 lead into the 5th inning, which is really good considering, that was his first experience at this level. The overall MVP was David Cripps, who, what more is there to say? David's just that guy. He did everything for us. He hit, I think, 280 or 300 on the year. Solid leadoff hitter. You don't usually see catchers as leadoff hitters, but, Dave just has that drive. Always made solid contact with the ball. He started off the season 0 for 12, but all 12 of those outs were just absolutely ripped at somebody. So a little bit of bad luck there. If he wouldn't have started off like that, he definitely would have hit over 300. And coach's award went to John Peranian, who is our left fielder. John is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Picture-perfect teammate, always lifting others up. If he struck out, didn't throw his helmet or anything. That's not a dig at anybody that throws their helmet, by the way. Cut that out, future me. Yeah, Jonathan played a really solid left field, really heated up hitting-wise at the end of the season. I think he was second on the team in RBI. And in the span of 2 games, he had 8, or 3 games, rather, he had 8, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's the overview of the team awards for the year. And now to look at my own personal stats for the season. I set a goal before the season started that I was going to hit over 200, which is commonly known as the Mendoza line. I don't know why. I'm assuming someone named Mendoza said that was what you should hit at. I don't know. So I hit 250 on the year. I really started off hot. I hit 387 in the month of March and then really fell off in April, unfortunately. Our competition got a little bit tougher. We were seeing a lot better pitchers. So I had 13 hits, all of which were singles, unfortunately. No extra base hits for me. 5 runs scored, 0 RBI, mainly because I was hitting in the 9 hole, which is typically when you don't see a lot of runners on base. I think I left 10 runners on base all year, which obviously I'm upset at myself about that I didn't knock them in. But in my defense, Jonathan Peranian and Judson Martin were hitting in front of me usually, and they both got quite a few RBI. I had 2 walks, both actually in the same game. I got hit by 1 pitch. That really hurt. It was a sidearm pitcher. He nailed me right in the ribs. You could actually see the stitches from the baseball. And I also had 8 strikeouts and 4 sacrifice hits. I had less than half of the strikeouts as the previous year. This year had a lot better plate discipline. Unfortunately, I still chased quite a few pitches, leading to a lot of pop-ups and groundouts. So my pitching stats ended up with 5.1 innings pitched, 5.06 Ks per 9, which is strikeouts per 9 innings, and a 13.5 ERA. That is not something I'm happy about. However, I'm not a pitcher, really, so the fact that I got 3 strikeouts in my main pitching appearance, and so for not having pitched before, that was pretty cool. All right, so for the team as a whole, we really improved from the beginning of the season. I mean, we were in our first 2 games very closely, having never even seen the field before because of inclement weather. We had a 1-run lead going into the bottom of the 5th against Principi in our first game. That led into a shelling in the bottom of the 5th. They put up 10 runs. That was not fun. However, we hit 260 as a team for the season, drove in 73 runs. Our offense was pretty solid and got better, I think, as the season progressed. Tim Nichols and Teddy Haugen really started hitting the ball hard. Teddy ended up with 2 home runs on the season, which I don't think there had been a home run for Maranatha in 4 or 5 years probably. Teddy's got a bright future ahead of him. So does Joe. Our freshman class really, they've got some good things going. Judson Martin, Teddy Haugen, Joe Anderson, all of them bring a lot to the table, and they're going to be pillars for the team as the years progress. Yeah, I mean, we did the best with what we had. Obviously, not the most prime of situations. We only had, I think, 4 returning players from last year, which is absolutely wild. I didn't play last year, unfortunately. I'm really kicking myself for that. The main thing that I think got us, actually the 2 main things that got us this year was lack of depth, and we did not have clutch hitting at all. We left the bases loaded multiple times. I believe we had 3 or 4 times where we had bases loaded with no outs and we came away with no runs. That can't happen. I mean, I know I did. I did that one time, popped up with no outs for the bases, or with 1 out with the bases loaded. Not my finest moment, I'll tell you that. I was very upset at myself. It was, I can tell you exactly where it was. Fastball, right down the middle, right at the knees, right where I like it, right in the oval the old wheelhouse, and I got so excited to just grip it and rip it that I just got under it, lowered my shoulder, popped it straight up, infield fly, and then David Cripps ended up flying out to left field, I believe. So not my finest moment. I was pretty upset with myself. Overall, we did better this year than I thought we would. We had a lower ERA team-wise than last year. We had an 11.92 ERA this year. I believe it was 13 or 14 something last year. So especially with, only 3 starting pitchers, and then Michael Cripps, who hasn't pitched before, did a great job eating innings for us. He actually led the team in ERA for a while. He was, I think, sub-5 for a little bit there. But yeah, a lot of the guys contributed. All of the starters, we had the best night on the field every game. Coach told us that. Also, Coach is retiring. This is Coach Garrison's last year as a college, actually just as a coach in general. He's been coaching for 42 years, and he finally decided to hang up the old cage jacket. So he'll still be around as a professor, thankfully, but no longer coaching the team. As for the future for me, I graduate in 2 days, which is pretty cool. It's been a long 4 years, 3 of which I've spent playing baseball. Unfortunately, COVID year got nixed. We weren't able to play, as was the case for every single other college in the nation. But graduating in 2 days, gonna go back to my job at Trek Bikes. Gonna stay in the area for a little bit, kind of see where life takes me. Over the summer, I would love to join a church softball league or a men's rec league of some kind. I would love to keep playing the game if I can. But yeah, that's what's next for me. And that is all I have for you for this first vlog from 463 Baseball. I really, really appreciate you all watching, keeping up with the blog, listening to the podcast. I would say you can expect some more vlog episodes and podcast episodes from me at some point. Not entirely sure when, just depending on if I do, join a men's league or something like that this summer, then you can definitely expect more things to be coming from that. I will be coming to you guys with an interview with someone that's very special to me next week. Should be in the form of a podcast. We might vlog it. Who knows? I just want to say take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and love the Lord. Have a good night.